Now, I love this quote that I saw actually to post in the group, and it really connected with me. Yeah, if you never heal from what hurts you, then you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. Yeah, I come from a very, very small island called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And growing up as a kid on an island, yeah, we have one way of seeing the world. Yeah, and most often the way we see the world would be more or less, more or less predicated from the way our parents see the world. And I can remember this one time I did something really bad, well, not bad in my eyes, but in my mom's eyes, it was bad. And that day my mom came home and she was so upset. Yeah, she was so upset. And she whipped me and my brother. And for some strange reason, she started crying. Yeah, she started crying, even though I was the one who did something bad. And at that moment, I couldn't help myself but crying as well. And in my head, I'm wondering, why am I crying? And it felt so uncontrollably. And I was just pouring out with tears. Yeah. And at that point in my life, I realized that, the experience that we have as human beings, yeah, it's contagious. Yeah. And our traumas are like that as well. It's contagious. Yeah. So we got to be really, really careful. Yeah. If our traumas are not affecting those that we love.
Hi there, Adrian here, and this is a video from a Zoom session that we do. We do these Zoom sessions every Sunday and we take questions and answers from the audience. Some of our students, some of our members. We never know what questions are coming up, so I'm always excited to do these sessions and I hope to see you at one of them. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below and check out the other playlists that we have. Thank you, enjoy. Darko worked hard and got his position here with Motivate Community. After coaching me, I hired Darko and he coached me through a rough and challenging patch of my life. So thank you very much for helping me get through that year, Darko. That was massive. That's how Darko got roped in and has helped our community so much. Thank you, Darko.
Yes, I'm very proud of what I'm doing. I have that was all I want also to share. I have a lot of positive experiences during the life helping people. So I really have people who are working with me 1 year, 2 years, so I can see their progress. So as Adrian shared, he hired me. We start our relationship as a coach. I was coach Adrian, and now we are running community. So it's something amazing, which is how to say magic. Great experience. Okay. Let's first try from definition of trauma. So I want to say that trauma, it is something used in general. It is a general term, but the real term is what is happening is traumatic experience, traumatic event, which is happening, that after that causing a traumatic state, trauma. So in psychological term, this is, I find some definitions from, which is most common on internet. There is a different kind of definitions, but I can say that in psychological terms, trauma is emotional response. So we are emotionally react to some event like accident, rape, natural disaster. Here I can say it is also war. Yes, so also here I want to share that it is the structure of trauma. It is part is traumatic event. So traumatic event is all event which we are facing with. It is come not expected. So we are not prepared to respond to that event. It is life-threatening. It is overwhelmed. So our personality does not have all the resources which are needed to cope with traumatic experiences. And at this thing, we are trying to respond somehow unconsciously, and then to to go out from the situation. And after traumatic experience, this is traumatic experience when will pass, and we have response, our emotional response, our personality, how response. It goes anxiety, it goes some sadness, depression, tiredness. So these are all bipolar behavior, and these are all parts of trauma. How the traumatic experience influence of personality. So this is a very important process thing to discuss. The most important thing is that it creates a new part of personality. It is changing life direction. It is something that it is happening. Then it needs some time for recovery. Some people can recover from trauma, let's say in 1 month. Someone can carry the trauma the whole life, and caring is an unaware thing. Then it's creating a new behavior. So the behavior we are creating, it is forced. It is not now our natural behavior, but we have created in order to cope with traumatic experience, and we are repeating it after that. And what is the term which is used in psychology? It is post-traumatic stress disorder. So it creates some form of this. It is another part. It is in field of psychology, but now we are talking in the field of coaching and in the field of counseling. So here I want to say to discuss about how it creates new part of personality. In general, our personality have tendency to make fragmentation and defragmentation, and in the end, it is make integration. We are constantly in some process, in development process, and we are making fragments in our life, which needs to be which needs to be integrated. For example, I will share something positive, and then we'll connect with traumatic event. So, for example, a few years ago, I decided to become an NLP practitioner. I went to the training, so I was not aware. I went to the training, I passed the training, and I got certification. So my whole personality at that time make fragment NLP practitioner, and after becoming NLP practitioner, it needs time. After getting certification, it needs time now to integrate that part of personality within myself. So it is same with some traumatic event, traumatic experience. It happens. Our personality got fragmented, and we need to integrate that fragment within our personality and to continue moving forward. The problem occurs if we are not able to integrate that fragment of personality. So if that fragment of personality stay away, it is disintegrated, it makes pressure, and making pressure, it causes tension, it causes dissatisfaction, so not pleasant mood. So we need to find a way to integrate personality. For sure, when we have some other part and something happening, it changing life direction. So when we are talking about trauma, how it can change our life direction, it could be, let's say, it can change our belief system. It can change the way we are coping with. For example, if someone hang up with other person, some girl goes in relationship with a man, and then the man shows in one way everything is good, and after that he do some rape, some traumatic event. And then it is naturally that the girl will start to change her behavior. She will not trust. She will distrust to everyone. So it is changing like the direction, for sure. If let's say if someone goes in and have a car accident, as a result, as a response of this changing of the life, it needs time for recovery. And after that, maybe he will decide not to drive cars, and he'll need to hire some people or to manage someone else to drive him to other direction. So this is some examples of how it can change life direction. Yes, it needs time for recovery. So every traumatic experience needs time. I mentioned car accident. So if the car accident was severe, for sure we will have something maybe broken, maybe some hit, and it needs some time, maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, it depends, which will stop in our development process, natural development process. And at that time, our also psychology is changing. And create new behavior. It is creating a new behavior. What is coming on my mind while I'm talking? Let's say the client, there is a client come to me, and he has go through some illness. And for sure, the new behavior he will try to implement is taking a lot of care for cleaning, for hygiene, personal hygiene, because he believes that this behavior led him to illness. Or if we are talking about car accidents, let's say someone was a good driver, he went into the car accident, and after this traumatic experience, he will not be willing to drive car, but he will find someone else, as I said, to drive him. It's a good example. And what is can create PTSD? It is a psychological disorder. I want to say that not all traumatic experience are creating PTSD, but it comes when we become aware about what is happened to us. Most of the time we are trying to deny what is happening. Okay. Some of the symptoms, always when we have traumatic experience, first is helplessness, first thing which is coming. For example, I become not talk about rape. Let's say someone come to me and put me in some place and lock me. So I feel helplessness. I cannot do nothing. He used his force. He put me in some room. He locked me, and I cannot do nothing. Because he is stronger than me. I'm talking as an example. So after traumatic experience, when I will helpless, I say, that's happened, I will not do this, and I will try to go back instead of going further into the life. So that's why the first thing when we are working with a person who is with traumatic experiences, safety. Feeling of safety. When someone is feeling of safety, then we can go through. If he is not safe, there are other institutions like social security and this thing, who first thing is to make the person feel safe. The second thing which is happening after traumatic experience, it is denying. So it is a lot. There are a lot of people, huge amount, and also my clients who are trying to deny that something happened to them. They say, okay, that is something, and it is not affecting on myself, and trying to do things, but as I said, the fragment which is created makes pressure to the personality. and we are trying rolling in the same behavior. So this denying, it needs to come when if I notice the client will come, he's denying something, I will put more focus on that, and then I will try to guide him to accept as a part of himself. Then we can continue moving forward. Otherwise, we can do something, but continue rolling. What else? It creates self-destructive or suicidal thoughts. Usually, the victim or survivor of trauma, he has a self-destructive thoughts. So some of the thoughts are, I am responsible. It is my fault. I don't deserve to live. So that kind of thoughts is a result of some traumatic experience. Maybe because he's denying, he do not care about himself. He's trying to say, I am false. I should not. It should not happen to me now. My behavior influence on my family, and it is that kind of self-blame which occurs after traumatic experience, which of course is not good. The other part is this is totally opposite that suicidal. They are trying to go to themselves and to blame themselves. Opposite direction is narcissism. Narcissism goes to, I am the best. I have survived this. I can do like this. I will not listen something. It is again, there is not communication with the environment. But the narcissist is only in his hand, and he is the best. He's looking for glorious things. He wants to be the best, and his behavior is the best, not taking care about the family. It is also not good because the goal of life is balance and make a good communication. And then we have also some of the symptoms is compulsive behavior or obsessive compulsive behavior, which becomes after trauma. So we are pushed to do something, even though we don't want to do. We are pushed to do something. We are easily get distracted. We are arguing with family because we think that it is our behavior, even though I am a good person. But my compulsive behavior means that I need to fight it to protect myself. This is an example. Or maybe washing hands. So it is also a compulsive behavior. I had this before, going out and coming back to make sure that the door is closed. So maybe a few times we will go up and down just to check is the door closed or it is not closed, even though you know that it is closed. Okay, we are moving further. So of course there is some traumatic, there are some positive aspects of traumatic experience. So all traumatic experience could affect some positive aspects in our personality. I put here example. When someone he has some way of thinking and he got put in the prison. After let's say he went through this experience. After that, he can become activist for human rights, and he will change the planet. He can become a leader, and he can have a good influence on the people to make a change in the planet. Also, so here I found myself, there are many trauma survivors, people who trained the who survived trauma. So this is myself. I know we have students in Motivate community. We have trained now coaches. They are dedicated to support other people with trauma. I also found out that beside this, there is a whole organizations in US who are creating a trauma-informed therapy. They are called people who trauma survivors who are supporting other people to get how to cope with their traumatic experience. Yes. Okay. I'm talking a lot, so I want to just to ask.
I thought Karina would come tonight. Karina does a lot of trauma coaching, but she must be asleep still. It's like very, very early in Canada.
Yes. Yes. That is. I want to ask: is there some question of someone wants to add something up to the thing I was talking up to now?
Yeah, g'day, Darko. How are you?
I'm okay.
Hey,
Thank you for coming. Thank you for turning your camera on.
G'day, Adrian. How are you, mate? Hey, could you touch a little bit more on the link to narcissism?
Yes, narcissism. So I can discuss more about from Gestalt perspective. So narcissism is something. It is we do not have a communication with the environment. The narcissist. It is a traumatized person. He a trauma survivor. He has some trauma, and he decides to not to communicate with the environment, not to help someone, but to step within himself. And now a narcissist person, he has his behavior is he's dissociated. This is not what I have not mentioned. After the trauma, after traumatic experience, most of the clients got dissociated. And there is a feeling of something like dissociation, no realization, and they are living like they're watching what is happening. So this is example in narcissistic person. He's dissociated from the environment, from what is happening, and he is watching himself. He's watching his behavior, and he can
kind of like one of those video games where you see a crazy, you see a crazy you going around, but you're back here behind the computer game.
Yes, and he is feeling some threat. That is he is feeling the environment like everyone wants to hurt him, and so he's seeing himself, and he said, he wants to make something, but you need to show him that you know better, and that is what is his driving his behavior. And he's thinking that he's doing good because he's narcissist. It starts with first thing is egoism, but egoism like everything I do for myself, and after that goes to narcissism. But I also have to mention this egoism. It is a very healthy if it is in good using in good way, because through egoism. In right amount of egoism, it is what is forcing us in life. But traumatic people with trauma, they have destruction in communication. So that is the point of narcissist. And of course, narcissist is always because he has his whole thinking. He's not good for environment.
Okay, thank you.
You want to share any
for the question?
You'd like to share?
Do I want to share
or anything more? Yeah, you're welcome to.
No, thank you.
Okay, just to see check the question. Okay. Yes, Dino says often our brain locks away. Okay.
But
Yes,
I have a question.
Yes, yes. Can you?
Yeah,
I
have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. You listed a few symptoms in terms of, where we can become aware if a client, have had a traumatic experience. Yeah. So what would you suggest to be the best approach, or say some of the best methods from the NLP toolkit to, help dissolve or help integrate, as you said, these traumatic experience?
Yes. For this session, I have created NLP timeline. So I think NLP timeline is a good approach. So we'll go further into the presentation. It helps us to come back and to see what the traumatic experience, what is happening. So this is one thing, but also there is another thing. Like if we are talking in NLP terms, it is good to have a meta model. Meta model is going into details for traumatic experience, and also parts integration, because as I said, all we do is integrating our personality to be integrated, and when our personality is integrated, then we feel calmness, we feel okayness. So we are in a good place to start with something new.
Okay. So what you're practically saying is an individual who have had a traumatic experience is as if they have two different parts of themselves that are separated, and we need to more or less bring it together as one unconsciously.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
In theory, they are saying there is, now it looks like two parts, yes, but we have multiple parts of ourselves. So we are a whole population of self, our whole self. But for this reason, yes, for this presentation, yes, it is one who we are, and one self which is one part, or one self which is traumatized, I think. And now we need to make some integration. That is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs time. Also, we need to be aware that it needs time. It could not happen overnight, even though there is a saying from Richard Bandler, one of the creators of NLP. He says, if I go to a tree, walk through a river, and I fell in the river, I create traumatic experience immediately, and and if I create it immediately, then there must be a way. Then I can clean it in a minute. So that is his words. If I make some comparison to this, let's say if someone has a traumatic experience and need recovery, and it takes 1 year, then it means that within 1 year he can solve the thing, not to carry up the whole life and to manage all his behavior around this traumatic experience. Because it is experience and it is happening. It is natural process. It is how we are reacting. We cannot skip. It is unexpected. But we also, it is our responsibility to find a way how to cope or how to solve. There is a saying, it comes from existential philosophy. Jean-Paul Sartre, his representative, he say, if someone, we are not responsible if we come from some race or if we go into a prison. It is not, but for sure it is our responsibility to find a way and to give, and to give a sense of our life. So we are not responsible for the situation, but we are responsible to give a sense. It means, let's say I'm driving a car and I want to drive, I have a huge, high car, and I want to drive, let's say, 150 kilometers. But the situation, the roads give me information that I need to drive slowly. So I will adjust my want, everything to the current situation. That is what we need to do.
I have one more quick question. Yeah, one more quick
Yes,
question.
please.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with the timeline technique, and there was always something I'm curious about. And when we learn this technique, we understand there are certain emotional events throughout our timeline that we call Gestalt, like these balls of energy. And sometimes some of these balls of energy are bigger than others. Yeah. And so my question is, sometimes I can be in a session with a client and I realize that the behavior that they're eliciting now was as a result of something that happened in the past. And my question is always, should we go back to the event where it first began, or should we go back to the event where there's the biggest mass of emotional energy to create the biggest impact? What would you suggest in a situation like that?
Yes, it is more in coaching. So it is what the client will bring. So the most biggest events will come at the surface first, because during the life we may have a bunch of traumatic experiences. Maybe someone has one traumatic experience, someone has many traumatic experiences, someone has traumatic experience which can last, let's say, car accidents. It is happening immediately, it creates new behavior and gone. But someone live with, let's say, because narcissist was mentioned, someone live with narcissistic person. A narcissistic person is making pressure, causing trauma, and it lasts for some period. So that traumatic experience is longer. It is called complex traumatic experience. So there are different ways, different types of trauma.
So what you're saying is, from the initial
what will come,
experience,
what will come the client, that is what we need to, what it comes to the surface.
Yeah, I could go
okay.
with that. Trust the unconscious. Trust the unconscious, or I would say trust your unconscious, and in a deep level of rapport with your client. You know, ask the client's unconscious for trust. Yes. But it is a really good question, and I think it took 5 years or so before I learned that distinction. That's a really good question.
Yes. I also want to say to share for the coaches here, if you have some experience to work with the client with traumatic experience, to be aware that a client with traumatic experience has a lot of defense mechanisms, and he is not always prepared for talking for trauma. So if someone is, we don't know how the client will react. It is a way they are acting out. He will act out and react like we do not expect. So we cannot control this. So that's why it is very important when working with client to go. There is a, let's say, if here is trauma, then to go like what is the term? Piling the onion, step by step, not go directly into the core of the trauma, but step by step to follow the client, how much he's open to discuss. And it is obvious that when we are starting some coaching relationship with the client at the beginning, there is not so developed trust between client and the coach, and the client maybe not will be open to discuss about major traumatic experience, but he will test us. He will test how we are reacting. He will give us something. So it needs time up to go to the core thing. So step by step, this kind of mind, because it is really not so pleasant to discuss with on some experience, because in the same way we are becoming witnesses. Yes, I just remember that is why why I say I have a lot of to talk, but I'm not sure how much time.
Darko, if I can just throw in, like, even if you're not a coach, or if you're doing this with family members after, you know, someone in the family's passed away, or a trauma with mates, if you're not super trained, even people in Lifeline take calls, and it's a deep level of rapport. So at Christmas time, when you're just sitting with your family and having that safe space where you can just hold space, and if people want to, they can have a beverage, have a cake, whatever, and they can release as much or as little as they like, and just have that safe space. That rapport is so valuable. So even the non-coaches can do that. There's a lot of people that can help their friends and family.
And even to expand on what Adrian said, you know, you said safety is very important, and safety something that I've been what I've been learning and seeing to be a powerful tool in my conversation with clients is forgiveness. Having a client going back and forgive them themselves, during that particular time of the experience, because a lot of what happened is that there's been so much blame packed up there with that emotion, and when they go back and forgive themselves, it just dissolves. And that's what I've been noticing. I don't know if any one of the other coaches have experienced that. And we also see forgiveness in a more religious aspect of things. But now, even in my practice as a coach, I'm seeing just those words, and to really embody it personally is powerful.
Yes, it is very important part to forgive. But it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Let's say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Forgive who? Forgive who?
Forgive who? So
yourself. Yourself.
But that is what I forgot to mention at the beginning. When we have a traumatic experience, so there is a lot of persons. So there is a perpetrator, there is a victim. At this moment, you're a victim. After that, the traumatic experience could be victim or could be survivor. How he will watch the thing. There is a perpetrator, there is a victim. So there is someone witness. If there is someone else, someone is witness, there is maybe someone will support the perpetrator, like, I'm not doing thing, but I will buy you tools to do to hurt the other person. So it is a whole constellation of things which is happening during that one experience, and we need to watch more closely. And it creates the whole traumatic experience. It also creates a whole group dynamics if there is more people involved. So we need to be careful when working with this. And yes, I shared that there are also positive aspects. It is very important also to mention that we are talking now about personal trauma, personal thing, but also there is professional trauma, like going through professional side. It is like bankruptcy. You have money and one day you bankrupt and you have no money. So it's a big, huge trauma. Or you have some manager, a very, very important person in your company. He makes a lot of money, makes a lot of profit, and he dies immediately. It goes, even though you're not directly included, but you are carrying the trauma because everything is planned, and one day it happens unexpected thing. So it is some examples of professional trauma, or something happened to me. Go to your employed, everything goes good, and you go to the boss from nowhere, you are fired from tomorrow. It is also, you are not prepared, and it is more stress, but we can consider that can develop as a trauma. Okay. So, like I shared, I am really amazed from the power of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It is a technique approach. It is developed from Richard Bandler and John Grinder, but it is developed not for people, not as a psychotherapy, but as a coaching technique. So it is how it goes. So not all people, even though who are carrying trauma, are willing to go to admit, I will go to psychotherapy, but they will say, I will go to coaching. And NLP offers a set of tools which can be used in both areas, coaching and maybe go in psychotherapy, but little bit, not so deeply in psychotherapy thing. So there is a lot of definition of NLPs. So the creators of NLP says that it is phenomenological study of subjective experience. What does it mean? That means that we are focused on the client experience. Nothing else is important, only experience. And phenomenology means what is happening now, what is present in the moment, at the moment. The whole thing of NLP, I can say that it is a philosophy of setting goals and achieving desired outcomes. So if you are working with some client who has achieved trauma, maybe he wants to talk about trauma, so his goal is to solve trauma, to find the problem, to solve this issue. And then we are trying to build and to find a way to have to overcome the traumatic experience and to achieve desired outcome. Other thing is NLP is a tool that delivers transformation and change. This is for sure. I have not met a person who is involved in NLP, who knows NLP. I'm talking about knowing, not just listening about what is NLP, but knowing and go through the process, who has not experience some kind of change, even though it is a minor change. But it is a change because we are working unconsciously. So the last thing, conscious influence of unconscious mind. It offers tools and techniques. We are consciously, I'm conscious now that I have a problem. And I consciously use NLP because there is a technique how I can influence on my unconscious, usually through visualization, through making pictures, working with these pictures. So this is more about theory. The K concept of NLP is what is present state. We are describing what is present state, what he feels, what he experiences. We are watching
all the changes, not so much what the changes are or the way, but the how you make it all.
Yes, how. And why I like NLP is because it is not based on I want something which is not logical, but all we are doing is trying to follow the natural process. So natural process of the client. I had a client, I am sharing this all the time. He hired me because he wants to make a morning ritual and to wake up earlier. So he was waking up at 10 o'clock. And I have a session with him. And he was saying, I want this. And I say, okay, this is what you want. Let's see what is happening. And during the conversation, I find out that he loves music. And I put his preference of music into his morning ritual. And that has influenced. Now he is waking up 6 a.m. and doing all the ritual up to our meeting. So it is amazing experience. but I was not praising him. You have to do this, you have to do this. But I find what is natural behavior and use that behavior. So that is the power of NLP. So yes, we are going into the second process. So first we are saying what is the present state. After that, we can estimate what are the resources. So usually what we need to, maybe something to read, maybe to learn something, maybe to go some training. For myself, from my experience, I found out that I need a training. So I go to training, I train myself. I make another decision, I go more training, and then moving to desired state. So this is the whole concept in NLP. Yes, and I want to say what I want but more to discuss is a timeline technique. It's a technique in NLP. Dino had mentioned before. So it is a technique. It presupposes that in NLP, that our memories consists of gestalts. It is called in NLP. In real term, it is unfinished gestalt. The gestalt is not finished, unfinished, and that's why that gestalt is making pressure. But for NLP and for this occasion, we will use the gestalt, the term the gestalt. Gestalt means a complete figure which gives a sense. So as well as at the moment when we complete the figure and give the sense of the figure, it comes into unconscious and it does not make pressure anymore. So our memories are stored in a line, in line. So we have different representation, but how we represent memory and how is timeline made, it is part of the training. So we will not go that deeply. Now I will discuss only the process. So it says we are here and now. I'm talking with you. And from this point, if you go back into your memory trying to remember, you will find one experience. Here is a memory we cannot remember. Other experience, memory not remember. Other, here is a big thing. It says first event, but as I said, it could not be the first event. It could be some other experience which is putting pressure on ourselves. But it is big one, which it needs to solve. Yes, so this is a short explanation of how it works. For further, I want to make some exercise. So this is the whole picture. How does it work? What does it need to happen? So we are here at the present moment. Now we are. I will guide you to the negative event, to the some negative event which is most important to you, which will occur. I will say it is traumatic event. Then we need to go to dissociate from this event to watch it as a movie, like you are watching. And I want to find out what is the learning experience from that traumatic event. I would like to ask you to focus on yourself, to feel grounded, to feel more connected with yourself. You can have your eyes open, or maybe if you want, you can have your eyes closed. And I would like to ask you to go back within your memory. And as you are going back, I want to find some traumatic event which is most important to you. this traumatic event is making up problems to you, it's making a pressure. You feel discomfort in this present moment. And as you are going back and you see this traumatic event, I want you to dissociate from this event and watching yourself. I want you to see what is happening in that event from dissociated state. Maybe you will see only a picture, maybe you will make a whole movie. You can stay focused and see exactly what's happened before the event, what was happening during the event, and what is happening after the event. And as you are watching the event, what is happening, I want you to see what is the learning from that event. What can you do differently? And what do you need in that situation so you can cope with the event, or maybe there is something you can do, but you can skip the event. Okay. Now I want you to go to float over your timeline and to come now where you are seeing what is your learning. You are accepting what was happening. You are accepting this part of yourself as a whole. And then I would like you to ask you to go a little bit in the future. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. But now you have that new learning with you. So what is different in the future if you act differently? How are you feeling now when you have this learning? What are you choosing to do next? Okay, and in the moment, I will ask you to come back here and please share your experience. Okay, can someone share what was happening into the timeline?
Maybe I can jump in and share. Yeah, this one was a bit challenging for me personally. Yeah, but I think, how to say, just becoming aware of the situation, yeah, made me feel a bit more empowered. Yeah, and to see the transition from the person who I was then to who I was now, you know, it gave me a lot of assurance. Yeah, so that's what was happening. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Can I come in, Darko?
Yes, please.
My experience was at a very young age, a terribly young age. And I remember exactly what it was. My parents went to the pub with their friends, and I was stuck in the car. And I had this sudden passion to rush out, run down the road, and go into the pub and join them. And of course, in those days, children were not allowed in the pubs, so they chased me out straight away. And I'm saying that I haven't thought about that for a long time. But of course, what it brought me to the memory, but also the factuality that you should always think ahead and put yourself and understand the situation before you do something. So I think that it just reminds me, think before you act, really. That doesn't apply just to that.
That is the learning. That is the learning.
Thank you.
I didn't get a resolution, but I went back to this time and saw this stuff happening when I was a teenager, and it was quite vivid. And I was able to kind of like take it from different angles, you know, like third person, you know, and see. I like to do it again.
Okay, wonderful.
It's interesting that you said you didn't get an answer, Adrian. I was thinking back as well, like the moment that I went to as well. And when I came back, I actually didn't get any answer. But I think listening to everybody share and reflect, the thought of I did the best that I can with what I have in that moment as a kid. And I think that is where the reassurance came from, because at that moment, somebody who was supposed to be a protector in our family was now becoming the threat. And being a kid in a situation like that, you wonder, okay, so what could I have done differently? You know, and just acknowledging that, wait, you were a kid, there's nothing else you could have done differently. Yeah, and you did the best that you can, you know, instead of carrying around the burden of, you know, maybe your failure, you could have done something better. Yeah, so sometimes even no answer is an answer.
Yeah, I didn't get like an answer. I didn't get like a conscious answer to my question, but it's like I gained a resource. Or I gained a connection to some part of me, or I gained a connection to some, you know, resource or feeling. Well, not like you, but that is important. That's important.
Boom! You made it here! Good on you. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and check out the playlist at the end. If you'd like to come along to our Sunday sessions where we host a live free Q&A for our students and members, you're welcome. I'll see you there.